Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about advanced face key editing. So with 3.1, the face key editing has now been consolidated into a well-integrated UI, so you can basically animate the faces for both G2 and G3 characters in the same panels, and then we're now using the motion key editor for body editing. So the face key editor and the motion key editor will be for the face and the body separately. So we're going to talk about that right off the bat, and then we're going to get into one scenario where I'm going to show you how to use all these tools in one fell swoop. All right, so let's talk first about Crazy Talk Animator 3.0. So this is what we have on the screen right now. Now this maybe it'll get a little bit confusing, but first of all, let's go ahead and select our G2 character. I have this G2 character from here, and I have my G3 human character, front-facing character over here as well. You can see if I select the G2 character and the G3 character, over here on the left panel where the motion tools are, we have different selections, different options for motion tools. Okay, so this one here, this character has a 2D motion key editor and a face key editor, and this one right here has the same thing, 2D motion key editor and facial key editor, but it also has a motion key editor down here. Alright, so let's talk about the differences with these. First of all, I'm going to select my G2 character, and we're going to go into the 2D motion key editor. Alright, and you'll see this pop up, this panel right here. We can select a pose, this pose tab on the top, and this is basically where you can just pose different parts of your character, rotate them according to these little roundabout gizmos here. All right, so you can just do that with pose. Pretty simple, straightforward. Transform is where you can modify body parts. You can move them around, you can resize them if you want. Just Control Z that. Do all this stuff and rotate it and everything like that as well. Okay, and you can select the head and rotate the head as well and everything like that. And in Transform, you can also go over here and select the face. So when I select the face, you can see we can transform the facial features for the G2 character. So we have things like the eyebrow, for example. We can raise the eyebrow like this. We can select the other eyebrow and move it over there. I'll just Control Z both of those. Just kind of wanted to show you the functionality. And you can, enlarge and everything, different stuff as well. If you want to give them a super extra large nose, you can do that. All right, and you can toggle back to the body mode here as well and do the same thing with all the body parts. And the deform, fairly similar. So the deform, we're currently in the head section. We can deform the nose, for example, if we want to stretch it out just like that, or stretch it out like that, and really deform it in lots of various ways. We can do so, and same thing goes for the body. If you take the body, you can deform the body like this and give him some sort of tumor on his head or whatever you want. Just let your imagination go wild. But that's for the motion key editor for the G2 character. Okay, so pretty fully functional. And if we select our other character, our G3 character over here, notice that when we go to deform, suddenly the body is deactivated. We no longer have the option to animate the body. And we only have the option to animate the head here, like this, okay? But the body is disabled. We can also select the face. When we select the face, we can modify all these things on all the facial features just fine, but the body is not available. Same goes for the transforms section. You can see the transform, you can move the head around like this, but we cannot modify any of the body parts. They are disabled. If we go over here to face, we can do the same thing, just move all the facial features, transform them to whatever we desire. And the pose for the G3 characters is disabled. Okay, so those are the main differences between the G2 and the G3 characters. And that's what we had, that's the way we had it in Crazy Talk Animator 3.0. If you wanted to animate the body of your G3 character, then you'd have to use a separate tool here called the Motion Key Editor. Okay, in the Motion Key Editor, you may be familiar with this panel right here. You'd select, different body parts and move them like this. If you're rubbing his stomach like that, yummy. Okay, and we didn't have that option for the G2 characters. Okay, so that's pretty much the confusing situation that we had in Crazy Talk Animator 3.0. I'm going to close this 3.0 down, and now I have Crazy Talk Animator 3.1 on the screen. So this is 3.1, same characters, but we're at 3.1 right now. So if I select this dude over here, the G2 character, you can see we still have the 2D motion key editor and the face key editor over here. If we select our dude, our G3 dude, we have the 2D motion key editor and the face key editor as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's select this G2 character. We go to 2D motion key editor, the body. You can see we have the same pose functionality, we have the same transform functionality, and we have the same deform functionality. But we don't have the option to toggle to the face, okay? So this is only for the body. The motion key editor is only used, like I mentioned, for the body, okay? And the same thing with the G3 character. So we select the G3 character. We can just go over here to motion key editor, shut down there for a sec. And if we select the motion key editor for him, then it's all on the body. So this character animates in different ways. Like I mentioned before, you can, stretch and bend the mesh because of the bone structure. A little bit different from G2 characters. But basically, the 2D motion key editor is now only for the body. And if you want to animate the face, you can go over here and select the face key editor. Okay, so the face key editor for both G2 and G3 characters is the same panel now. So we can select either character, and we now have the same options. So we've made it we simplified it, consolidated all the facial animation into all the facial keyframe animation into a single panel. Okay, so G2 character over here. Let's see what the morph can do. So with the morphs, we can select the eyebrows, for example, and we move them up. It's very similar to transform, but the morph just kind of moves according to the mouse movements here, and it's a different track in the timeline. So let's Control Z that a couple times, and you can also rotate the head as well if we want to do something like this. Okay, I just go back to default key to bring it back to normal. For the template, we can use templates right here. We have happy template, happy 2, happy 3. So these are all the templates that were in the face key editor before, and you can use happy, sad, angry, whatever. We'll talk more about this a little bit later. The transform, same thing. So we have the transform. We can now enlarge, resize, rotate, and everything like that. Similar to the morphs, but a bit more options. Let me just go ahead and reset all there, or default pose rather. All right, and then we can also go to deform. Deform is like I showed you before. If we zoom in on the character's face here, we can take the mouth and stretch it up like this, give him a really big smirk, and then go back to default pose to bring it back to normal. Let's actually go to our template and give him a neutral expression there, and go to deform, default pose. There we go. Make sure that everything's at default. All right, and then same thing goes with the G3 character. So G3 character, transform the eyebrow, make it larger. Whoops, I made it smaller there. Whoops. Make it larger, move it around, do whatever you want with it. Same thing goes with the nose, and so on and so forth. The template, we have the same templates as well I showed you earlier. Morph, we can raise the eyebrows and the head, rotate it around like this. Okay, all together. We go back to default key, and we can refresh it over here and take the cheeks, just make them frown or smile just like this. So this is something transform cannot do. All right. Let's go back to default, and then deform, very similar. So, take the mouth or take the head. We can, deform the head like I showed you before. I kind of enjoy doing that for this character. This character's nose is maybe more suitable for deformation or something, but you get the point. So basically, overall, now all the facial keyframe animation is now consolidated into this facial key editor, whereas with 3.0 is a little bit confusing to get through, but now we have everything simplified for you guys with G2 and G3 characters. Phew, all right, there we go. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to animate this character, the face of our G3 character. We're going to do away with our G2 character right now, and I'm going to show you how to use those animation tools for the face on our G3 character. All right, so we have this dude right here. We're going to apply an animation to him. We're going to have him doing a happy kind of dance, dancing back and forth. If we go to our motion folder over here under G3 human, elastic folks front facing, we have perform, and we have a dance. We can use this dance start right here, dance loop, have our character dance like this, and then we can maybe have him dance for a couple times, apply that one more time, and then just dance end. All right, good enough. So let's press F3 and go into our timeline here. So in our timeline with our character selected, I'm going to open the motion track, and you can see our motion clips over here. We have dance with 2 loops in the middle, 2 clips right here, and then dance end. So what we're going to do is focus on the face. So I'm going to zoom in on my character's face. And the first thing we're going to do is talk about morph and blending templates. Okay, we're going to do morphing and we're going to blend templates together. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to open up the face key editor. We're going to spend the rest of this tutorial in this face key editor. We're going to start from the left with morphing right here. I'm going to refresh this. So as our character is, getting ready, doing a jump like this, he's kind of jumping up. Maybe zoom out a tiny little bit there. He's jumping up to get ready for his dance. What we're going to do is we're going to have him look skyward as he jumps up like that. And at the end, we're going to use a template to have him smile. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to go to about here as he's about to, jump off the ground. We're going to just go ahead and take his eyeballs and eyebrows and we're going to also use the head rotation just like this. And we're going to click and drag anywhere and move it down like this, okay? And when we do that, what I need to do is go over here, and instead of sprite-related tracks, I'm going to select function-related tracks when I have our character selected. And we can just close down the motion track right now and open up the face track. And once I've opened up my facial track right here, what I'm going to do is go over here and make sure we have function-related track on, and not sprite-related track. We want function-related track, okay? Because this will allow us to only show the tracks where we have the function, like more function, template function, and everything like that. So to find these, we need to go into facial clips, okay? And you can see right here under head, face, and eye, we have those tracks opened up. So those are the ones we modified, head, face, and eye. And then we're going to go to about here as he's jumping up like that. We're going to just click and drag in a blank area of our face key editor and move his head up like that. Okay, so his eyebrows, eyeballs, and head rotation are moving all together at the same time. And then as he comes down like this, we're going to move everything back down again, just like this. Okay, so now what we have is a jump like this. So down, up, and then down again. Okay, so up, and then down all the way over to here. Okay, now what I'm going to do at this keyframe right here is instead of using these keyframes right here, the settings, I'm going to actually select default key again and take it back to normal. And then I'm going to go into templates. So now we're going to talk about template blending. Okay, so I can use any one of these happy templates, like a happy 1, happy 2, happy 3, happy 7. Let's go ahead and use, happy 6 seems pretty happy. Okay, so what's going to happen now is we're going to blend from this facial keyframe right here all the way down to here, okay? Just like this, and then his eye back to normal, and there's our happy template right there. And then as we're moving along right here, we can just blend it to another happy as he begins his dance. So maybe from here to like somewhere like this, let's go ahead and blend to like happy 7, okay? You can leave his mouth open like that, so you can see his mouth shape gradually morphing to this expression right here, right? Or you can use, something else. Now you can see it's only modifying the face. Okay, we can use like happy 1 or happy 2. Happy 2 looks okay to me, or happy 4. I kind of like one where we have his mouth closed a little bit. Let's just use happy 2, okay? So from here to there, you can see his mouth will close. Now we're blending between that template right here. I believe it was happy 7, or maybe not. Happy 6, there we go, and happy 2. And actually, let's go back to templates right here. We're going to have one where his mouth is open. So I'm going to use maybe happy 7. I kind of like happy 7 because it's, quite different from the previous one. You can see a nicer blend. Okay, as he's kind of doing this kind of dance, he's kind of going, or something like that. What we can do is we can just go ahead and maybe here, we're going to use transform. Let's go ahead and make his face a little bit larger. So something like this, okay? And so now you can see if we open up the facial motion track now, we have the option for face transform, face sprite, and face deform. All right, and there's also the individual keyframes right here as well. So if we open up face transform and face deform, these are the tracks that we're going to be using. You can also open the separate ones here, like face for the mouth and everything like that. And you can find them further down right here. Okay, so here's the mouth. D stands for deform, T stands for transform, okay? So right now we have it like this, and his mouth just becoming larger. And then maybe a couple frames down, we're going to make it smaller, like that. And then we'll go a few more frames later, and we'll just make it larger again. And then we can just kind of repeat these two. We can just click and drag those click on those two keyframes right there, right click and select copy, and then maybe a few frames down, we'll just go ahead and paste it. Control V, paste, and then you can see we'll have large, small, large, and then we can do the same thing. Control V, all the way down here, so large, small, just like that, okay? Back to large. And then maybe finally we'll just set it back to the default pose. Alright, so we have it back to the default pose here. Alright, so then we have large, small, just like that. Okay, so that's like a basic, very, very basic example of how you can use the transform. You can do the same thing with the eyes and the eyebrows and everything like that, but I just kind of wanted to show you the concept here. So let's move on to deform now. In the deform section, this is where you can modify the shape of the mouth, like by manipulating the mesh. So what we have here is, under the deform section, we have a keyframe right here, mouth deform. So let's go over here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this this little section up here of the mesh, so we can kind of bring the face up like this. We can do the same thing with the other sections here, just kind of bring them up like that, and go over here on the other side and do the same, just like this. We're just making a really, really exaggerated smile here, so bear with me. And you can see the deform, or the keyframe appears in the deform track. And then over here, let's do the opposite. Let's bring it down, just like this. Okay? So we'll kind of stretch it out downwards like this, and almost like he's yelling. Okay? We're giving him a really big mouth as he comes down this way, just like that. All right, so then we have this, and then like that. So you can see the nice stretch animation between this keyframe and that keyframe. So here it starts out neutral, and then goes here, and then there. And then I can just go ahead and click in those two keyframes there, and right-click, copy, and just go a few frames down, just like this. Control V, over here, Control V, and you can see it's also adding keyframes in the face deform track up here as well, and so on and so forth. So then we have this. We have okay, so almost like he's his mouth is going down as he bounces up and down, just like that. Okay, maybe the timing's a little bit off, but you can always modify that a little bit later. And then maybe over here we can just go back and go to template and give him a nice, happy one template and go from there. And of course we'd have to go back to deform and go to default pose and transform and default pose there as well, and reset all, and then go to templates, and you can see the actual templates here. Okay, cool. All right, so let's use maybe, I don't know, what's a good one to end off with? Happy 7. Okay, we'll give him that kind of evil-looking happy grin right there, and then maybe he'll end off at happy 1. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our facial animation from here to here. So we have, let's actually scroll through it as we go along here. So here we have our facial animation clips using the morph. So right here. And notice as well that in the facial clip track, it creates a clip for all these modifications you make as well. Okay. So right here we have this. Eyes go up, eyebrows go up, and everything goes back down. And then he begins his smile. Transition to this smile from smile 5 to smile 6, I think it was. And then you can see the mouth just kind of bouncing along with his happy dance, and then back here, and we're good to go. All right, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's go ahead and play that back. You can see, there we go. A very interesting looking grin on his face. But basically, I just wanted to kind of show you guys an overview of those tools, how to use them, and at the beginning, explain the difference between the confusing layout we had for Crazy Talk Animator 3.0, the facial and body animation for G2 and G3 characters, and the new consolidated simplified version. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Again, thanks so much for watching, and make sure you check out our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.